Mother's necklace. But what's it doing here? Unless... Ramsa? Alma? Alma, are you there? I'm here, Ramsa. Extraordinary. The stones are different, but the craftsmanship is identical. However did it come to be in Bagamnan's possession? Though they are indeed of a different shape, the stones appear to be cut from the same crystal. Oh, there! Oversight! Oversight? What makes you say that? Can't you feel it? You can feel it, can't you? Howdy? Do you recall me telling you that Bagamnan considered the necklace special? It was special because it was entrusted to him by Prince Lesla. He was to return it to Princess Ashelia upon delivering Her Highness from the Bina fortress. A family keepsake. Of course. And each necklace, each oversight, has acted as a lodestone, drawing both of our parties closer and closer to Ivalice. Indeed, Father. The oversight guides us. Ramsa, are you recovered? Thank you, sister. I'm well now. From what we know of the Duma and the Ophius, vestiges of one's will may endure in the oversight. Could it be then that the desire of the former owner or creator of these necklaces was simply to return to Ivalice? But who could they have been? Ramsa. Ramsa Beyoth. He wanted people to return to his homeland and uncover the truth behind the kingdom's founding. But then, why show us Lysalia and Gorg, you ask? Simple. We are being tested. The oversight is measuring our worth, seeing if we are deserving of the truth. You say these things as if you knew them, but how could you? Nothing we've uncovered suggests anything of the kind. I know you have your doubts, but I can assure you they are misplaced. For now I must ask you to trust me, Lady Mevrilla. Lady Mevrilla? Since when did you... Ramsa? Are you feeling quite yourself? Of course I am, sister dearest. I've never felt better. I sense a disturbance in the ether. Father, these necklaces are gifts. Gifts from the old gods who once watched over the Ivalicians. It is proof we have their blessing. With the necklaces and the Ophius, we can finally prove... Thank you, Serenia. I know not what came over me. Ramsa, you must rest. Leave me be, Alma. Did I not tell you I'll be fine? Another adventure under our belts, huh, Serenia? I'd best put pen to page before the details fade. Lesalia and now Gork. One would think our discovery is more than sufficient to prove the Lexentale's claims, at least with regards to Ivalice's existence. But something tells me that until Genomus has proved that his ancestors were not the heretics the Church painted them to be, he will not rest. And then there is the curious case of Ramsa. At Alma's throat one moment, all sister dearest the next. He was like a different person when he came to, yet I seem to be alone in wondering exactly what happened to him back at the lighthouse. If you ask this lady, he must have taken quite some bump on the head when he fell. Then again, it didn't take him long to turn back to his spiteful little self, so, all's well that ends well? Greetings and salutations, Serenia. I suppose you're wondering whether or not the good Genomus has finally determined where in the world our next adventure is to take us. The good news is, yes. The bad news, however... Now, while it's not in my nature to be sensationalist, sensationalism is in my job description. So please bear with me when I tell you not all is right about the airship Lexentale. Something about Alma has me deeply worried. I would not trust with information in the hands of my publisher, let alone some sullen gate guard. Shall we continue our conversation on the Prima Vista away from inquisitive ears? Principal Genomus claims to have learned much from his continued study of the Durai papers. Still, he appears to be frustrated at a lack of information crucial to solving the mystery. The question is where exactly did Ramsa and his fellowship journey next? Serenia, to what do we owe this unexpected visit? I had not planned on summoning you for another several turns of the sun. I apologize if I have caused you any worry. I suppose one cannot allow a reporter in their midst not expect her to report what she sees. Though I did expect a tad more discretion from Miss Mavrilla. Alma has of late been experiencing difficulties with her health. Chirurgeon has been called upon to discern what exactly it is that ails her, but as far as they can tell, there's nothing physically wrong with my sister. The consensus is the rigors of an extended stay in a foreign land have taken their toll on her fragile heart. Serenia? When did you... Alma? I'm fine, brother. It's obvious you're not. You must return to your chambers and rest. Forgive me. Perhaps we shall speak again once I regain my strength. Until then, please look after my father. Now then, where are we? Ah yes, the matter of our next expedition. As we discovered during our most recent foray into the Estescence, the Damascan capital of Ranasta appears to lie upon the ruins of what can only be the royal city of Lenasia, ancient capital of a long-lost kingdom of Ivalice. Shortly after, we stumbled across remnants of a legendary clockwork city of Gurk, cleverly repurposed into a lighthouse overlooking the Ridorana cataract. Remnants which now sit suspended above a fathomless chasm. Thessalia, Gurk. Whatever encounter you ask, I shall tell you. They both appear in my ancestors' accounts of the rise of Ivalice, the Durai papers. And with each new discovery, this forbidden chronicle is now proving Ivalician legend to be more fact than fairy tale. There's no denying the proof. It is but a matter of time before scholars and historians from across the realm come to the same conclusion. But as you all are aware, my aim has never been to simply prove the existence of Ivalice. No, I shall not rest until I have revealed the truth of young Ramsa's role in King Delita's ascension and cleared my ancestor Oran Durai from a false accusation made against him by the church. Should we not see to Alma first? Kurgana's Virgin would have us believe she's in no immediate danger, as her illness is not one of a body but of a mind. To borrow their words, her spirit is in a state of unbalance and merely requires time to right itself. Alma will be fine as long as she remains in bed. The last thing she needs is any further excitement, especially to the paws of these meddlesome mole bats. Though I must admit both Montblanc and his brother have proven more useful than I would have ever dared to imagine. When it comes to usefulness, I'm the first in the field, or was it the furriest in the field? Would you like to feel my fur, Kubo? And you wonder why Ramsa despises you so, brother. They do all the work and all you do is jest, Kubo. But you're mistaken, Hurdy. I never bear you nor your brother any ill will. Any further ill will, that is. If anything, I owe you my thanks for your recent contributions. His thanks? Are you hearing what I'm hearing? What happened to the venom-spitting adder we all used to know and hate? That is a very good question. Alma certainly seems pleased with the change, but forgive me for not buying into this all-too-convenient transformation. Simply showing the world that Ivalice actually existed will not validate the claims chronicled in the Durai papers. That is correct, Father. The key lies in Ramsa Beowulf. If we can find evidence of his hidden role in history, it will prove Owen's testimony true and safeguard our family name from ridicule. Which is why I turned the focus of my research on the elitist forgotten companion and his actions during the War of Alliance. It was only then I discovered something most intriguing. An underlying struggle with an unknown force. A force with a power to bring about calamitous ruin. Oversight. The twisted abominations we encountered in both Lethalia and Gurk, the Lucavai, they are born of these unholy crystals. While nobles of the north and south squabbled over Ivalice's crown, Ramsa silently sought to rid the world of a darker evil. Evil manifest from the deepest desires of men and women whose minds had fallen prey to the oversight. And with each confrontation did Ramsa's fellowship grow smaller, countless companions lost to a cause that would go unwritten, yet was far more important than any clash of armies. And so did they endure, until reaching their final destination, the Auburn Monastery. Oh, I know this one. The Auburn Monastery is where Princess Ovelia was raised. There's a scene about it in the Zodiac Brave story. After the leader emerged victorious in his final campaign, he married the princess to legitimize his claim to the throne of Ivalice. I see someone has been paying attention. But I don't understand. Why would Ramsa's crusade against the Lucavai take him back there? According to the dry papers, the sinister being who engendered the oversight was said to have slumbered beneath the monastery. But who or what could have a means to create something so powerful? Ultima, the High Seraph. A seraph? What's a seraph? Seraphs are believed by some to be servants of the gods, divine beings whose only purpose is to carry out the will of their mortal masters. As to whether or not Ultima can claim this title, however, I cannot say. Just as there are those who chose to worship Ultima and her otherworldly might, there are equally as many who feared the visitor and her deadly magics, often referred to her as the Angel of Blood for the carnage left in her wake. Interesting. What if a spell Serenia claims to have experienced in the Praetorium, coincidentally also called Ultima, was in fact an elegant interpretation of the very magics introduced to Hydaelyn by the High Seraph? But that would mean... what would it mean? I have spoken with several colleagues back in Charlian regarding their opinions on the ancient incantation, and while they yet have little to show for their research, they all agree on one thing. The manner in which Ultima etherically manifests should not be possible, at least on Hydaelyn. So it would naturally make sense if we discovered that the Elegants learned this spell from a being not of this dimensional plane. As to exactly how they convinced the being to impart that knowledge unto them, not of his plane. What kind of creature are we talking about here? Likely one similar to Omega. How long have you been listening in the shadows, my friend? Long enough. I'm here to deliver the item Mikoto requested. Sid, there was no need for you to deliver it personally. A Moogle would have sufficed. A Moogle? And trust that he won't tear open the package and show it to some random adventurer? No. This is far too important. If you do not mind, the principal was about to tell us how to find the Auburn Monastery. Would that I could. You don't know? Then what have we been doing here? At ease, Lady Mavrilla. The Durai papers speak of a cataract situated in the river Seychelles, several leagues southeast of Rabanaston. There, supposedly, lies the monastery. Seychelles is not a name you'll find on any modern Damascan map. Rivers, however, especially ones as large as the Seychelles is established to be, are rare in a nation more than half claimed by the sand. The river we seek can only be that which bisects Golmore on the Naxian border. And for that invaluable information we owe thanks to the brother Mughals. Their travels have made them veritable authorities on Damascus geography. Wait, but earlier claimed you didn't know the monastery's whereabouts. I'm confused. Its location is not what concerns me, but perhaps the Mughals themselves should explain. Why, certainly. That verdant valley of vines and vipers, where we must voyage next, is home to the Viera, and therein lies the problem. The one thing the Viera do not suffer is trespassers, not even lovable Mughals, Cooper. And glamours kept us hidden long enough to see the jungle was teeming with ruins, much like those we've discovered in Lesali and Cork. But the Viera trackers eventually found us and took us before their elders. We barely escaped with our pomps. So that's why we're still talking instead of bound for the border. The Viera who have spurned the strict code of their tribes, abandoning their people to come and live in the cities of Damascus. Finding and recruiting one to our cause might provide us with insight into how to reach the Auburn Monastery ruins. Unfortunately, the nation's current turmoil has not made it easy to accomplish this task. We still require more time. Before boarding the shuttle here, I was stopped by a banga on the docks. He asked me if I knew a Serenia Shadow Star and bid I deliver her a message. I told him he was welcome to accompany me to the Prima Vista so that he might deliver that message himself, but the man refused. Mikoto, I saw this device crafted to your exact specifications, but cannot guarantee that it will function as intended, seeing as I had nary a subject to test it on. Of course, Master Sid. If any trouble is met, then most likely it's my design that's to blame. Your confidence in my craftsmanship is flattering, but you sell yourself too short, my dear. Here's to our success. Good day. Yeah, you owe him thanks and an apology, as he supposes. I admit, when I first arrived, I was wary of their ability to contribute to our cause. However, over the past months, they have done their damnedest to prove me wrong. I used to believe that the Gallians were inherently better than, well, everyone else. I suppose a part of me still does. It was what I was raised to believe. It's what all Gallian children are. Only now have I begun to realize what a fool I was. Our exile here has forced me to face the arrogance that has controlled me my whole life. And what I found was that I was simply frightened. Frightened of change. Frightened of admitting I was weak. And so I lashed out. And I'm sorry that you, Mont Blanc, Bwagi and the others had to suffer. Something is obviously very wrong with poor Alma. Why her father doesn't seem to pay her condition much mind is something we should all be wary of. So what did you get? I sense that you are interested in the package Sid delivered. I have every intention to apprise you of its contents, but I believe we should speak of Alma's condition. Do you not find her illness all too timely? Genomus and Ramsa would like to believe that her bouts of vertigo are not but the result of a mind fatigued. But the answer is clear. It's the aura sight that plagues her. Alma recently confided in me that she would hear her father speaking with Eotius well before even his first foray into Rabanastre. However, I do not think this is entirely true. Which is not to imply that Alma is trying to deceive me. However, I think she saw something that led her to believe her father was conversing with the aura sight. Moreover, I suspect it was the aura sight itself that granted her this vision. You recall my hypothesis on distinct with frequency NRR-type harmonic vibrations and their tendency to promote ethereal amplification? Or when I mentioned that despite being in the principal's possession for an extended period, the Eotius exhibited none of the imprinting present in the Duma? No? The Eotius has never resonated with Genomus. It has always been his wife's pendant, and its oversight shard, the Virgo, that fueled his passion for Ivalice. No, the Eotius is bound to Alma's deepest desires, whatever those may be. The only reason I can fathom that Alma has not fallen victim to the oversight's grasp is that her desires are not as strong as those we have witnessed in Argath or Bagamnan. That and the ethereal interference caused by other nearby shards. I have explained all of this to Alma and recommended that she destroy the necklace. Yet not only did she refuse, but she begged me to keep this revelation from her father. And so I did the only thing I could. I devised a means with which I might impede, or at least lessen, the effects of the Eotius. This device, while still incomplete, will amplify the NR wavelengths emitted by the Virgo. This should work to interfere with those emitted by the Eotius, thereby shielding Alma from the brunt of their effect. The city below is abuzz with word of a gun brigand loitering about the airship landing. Do you think it could be someone we know, Kubo? Well, considering that the quest says talk to Bwagi, probably yes. Apologies, Serenia, but I needed to speak with you, and you alone. Oh, don't mind me. I'll just be floating over here in perfect earshot. What makes you think I won't lay you low right here, right now? Because we are here to offer you a proposition, that's what. We need information on the Goldmoor jungle, and thought that a man as well-traveled as you might be persuaded to provide some. Goldmoor, you of all creatures should know, that is Viera land. What are you offering then? Why, the opportunity to tell us what you know. Genomus believes our next adventure lies beneath the jungle canopy, Kupo. I should have expected as much. Very well, Serenia. I came to ask if you would meet someone. Now it seems that someone may be able to assist Genomus as well. Seeing as you and the principal did right by us before, I do not see a reason why I cannot take both of you. Let me know when you're ready to depart for Rabanastre. We will travel on our airship. The Prima Vista would draw too much unwanted attention.